the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Let's start at the beginning. You guys do something a little bit different with your investments. Obviously it's in the name, Adventurous Real Estate. I think all real estate has a little adventure in it, but this sounds really, from what I can tell in the due diligence I did, you guys have quite a bit of adventure in it. Can you tell me how you started?
Yeah, I'd love to. So Michael and I actually started investing in real estate while we lived in Cambridge, England. We are still living here now, but the whole reason that we started was because COVID and the lockdowns. So the lockdowns over here lasted like about a year and a half. And when they first started, Michael and I were like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because everyone was sent home from work. And my initial thought was we're gonna have a mini book club together. And one book led to another, and that was Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. And the whole second section of the book talks about real estate investing. And Michael's like, you have to read this. Like, we have to try this. Yeah. And when we realized that all of real estate had gone virtual, as in like meetups, broker relations, everything, because the US was still shut down at that point too, we knew that we had a great opportunity. So that is what we did. We just dove right in with networking, educating ourselves, and just like reaching out to as many people as we could, because we knew that our lifeline was getting shorter with the US, because we could just tell right away that lockdowns weren't going to be as long as they were in the UK. And we took full advantage of that.
Awesome. Now let's hear your version, Michael.
I'm kidding. See everything that you're saying. Yeah.
Good man. You'll be married a long time. So tell me about the properties and what are the, you guys have done a lot of speaking, TEDx and things like that. And obviously other podcasts. What are the parameters behind your investments?
That's a great question. And that's a question, that kind of, we back up a little bit. So so initially when Suzy was mentioning that we were wanting to get into real estate and everything like that, we initially thought single family homes were the way. We were going to accumulate a bunch of single family homes and then, sell those and roll those into a larger multifamily. That multifamily was our end goal. Right. Well, some things happened along the way. We ended up some natural disasters occurred in the market that we were interested in investing in single family houses. Some things that never were supposed to occur in that market, such as an inland hurricane. Yes. And so they weren't even on our radar. Anyways, we decided to pivot instead of panicking. And what we did was we pivoted to our 10-year goal, which is multifamily investing. And so we jumped straight into that. And now we invest in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. We also have some properties in Arlington, Texas as well. We're mainly focused there. And you said looking at the criteria for the investment, it's really important now. I've always had a very risk adverse mind when it comes to investing. Investing in itself can be very risky. Sure. But we also take a very risk averse stance and a very risk averse model when we look at investments. And some of the things we look at, or some of the things we try to do on all of our properties is, obtain especially now, fixed rate long-term debt. But we're also looking at light value add properties, meaning that, there's not a huge amount of units that need to be renovated. We're also looking at, working class C and B class assets as well, just because those typically have higher occupancy than A class and obviously D class. So that's a scratch on the surface of our investment thesis there. If you want to get into it more,
I definitely have to know, and I'm going to tell you why I need to know, because you mentioned two things that piqued my interest due to my geographical location and then where I'm from. you have properties in OKC, and then you have properties in Arlington, Texas, correct?
Correct. And
Now,
Tulsa.
which one had an inland hurricane?
So none of those. We were actually looking in Iowa.
In Iowa.
Iowa. Yeah.
Okay.
So Cedar Rapids, Iowa had like a inland hurricane come through.
Was that the one that went through the West Coast and then crossed over towards the east?
I believe, yeah, it was like the fall of maybe like summer of 2020 or something like that, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I live in Florida. I'm in South Florida. So I mean, I'm like, okay, we get 6 hurricanes a week. Which hurricane has them? And I'm from Texas and I'm from Dallas. So I'm like, okay, Annie invests in Arlington, okay, that's my neck of the woods, So fantastic. That's exciting. So are you guys, when you invest, do you mind me asking? Well, let me get to this point. So you were looking in Iowa, you have investments in OKC, and then obviously Arlington. Are you located in any of those areas? Is that something you want to talk about, or is you just, I guess, why? That's the question. What's your why on Arlington, OKC, and Iowa?
No, absolutely. So no, we are like when we invested and where we still are, like we're still in England, but Iowa we initially chose because I like went to middle school and high school there, so it felt safe. But then once we decided we weren't going to invest there anymore, we had attended a conference, and the speaker in the conference was like, tell everyone you're in real estate investing, because like people will come out of the woodwork of who are also doing that. And like, that's a mutual way to find people who are also investing in real estate. We're like, cool, we'll try that.
Yeah.
So at the time we both posted on Facebook, and somebody that Michael went to to get his undergraduate degree with, reached out and was like, hey, I'm in Oklahoma City and I'm now a wholesaler and a flipper. And we were like, perfect. Like the know, like, and trust factor is already there. He can be our boots on the ground and we can handle everything else. And then, so that's how OKC started, and then Tulsa. And then with Arlington, it was pretty much the same thing. Like we met somebody in the area who's also very knowledgeable and can be in the boots on the ground on the area, so that if we needed somebody there immediately, we could be there. And both of them had the knowledge of the area that we did not have and could not have because of COVID at the time, right? We couldn't even travel to the US.
Got you. Now, is that the new recipe for you? I mean, or a recipe for you now is just to find people that you think you could partner with and basically franchise what you're doing and in the States or wherever else, I mean.
So now it's become, I was going to say, a little more detailed. So like with multifamily, like we found that a huge like partner of ours is our property management company. And because of that, we will wait to expand until we either find a property management company that is so good that the one that we're working with, or if we can get her to move to the areas that we want to invest in. Just because like we have calls with multiple syndicators or asset managers who are saying that like their biggest problem is their property manager. And like we have already eliminated that problem because like I wish I could like have the words to explain like how thankful I am that we found a property manager that aligns with us so greatly. But we would just need them in a new spot, or somebody who is very identical to them, who's just like very resident focused, very employee focused, like very even like business focused, to the point where like she knows when to say no. So like a lot of people want to grow, but with that, like they sometimes don't have the infrastructure in place. And like, I'm thankful that she's like, no, I need some time to be able to expand to a new market so that I can be 100% with all of the operators that are there. Like, and I really respect that she does that as a CEO.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's like everybody's dream, I think,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, especially offsite, or, because I do talk to quite a few people that are offsite or sometimes passive investors, they're like, I need somebody else on the boots on the ground doing all the work, and I'm just paperwork person, or funder, whatever it might be. So that's fantastic. Well, I was going to ask you, one of my common questions is, if I had a magic wand, what problem could I solve for you today? And it sounds like that is I mean, you've gotten that solution. So what's the new hurdle maybe, or what's another hurdle that you're trying to overcome?
Honest being sellers, or sellers being honest about deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
It's
What would
always
you
an
say
issue.
though?
Just send me to their house. I'll take care of those people. No.
Right, yeah.
Magic Wand. So we've been chatting about this for the last couple of months now. I think we're looking, to either get an intern or hire somebody
True.
I will teach them how to underwrite. I don't want to outsource underwriting at all, just
Right.
because like that is everything that your business model is based around, right? Like it just blows my mind sometimes, like when I hear people trying to outsource it. It's like what we would like to do, what I would like to do, is bring somebody onto the team, teach them how I underwrite, and then have them underwrite for us. So that would be probably the next hurdle we have, is just like expanding our team for like an underwriter. So yeah.
Gotcha. So we talked a little bit about the boots on the ground. Are the boots on the ground, or your wonderful property manager, is she finding, or while you're across the pond,
Yeah.
how are you finding properties now? How are you finding investors? Are you finding investors, or is this all hard money, or?
Yeah, great question. So I'll answer your question about properties first, and I'll let Suzy answer the question about investors. So about properties, like we've created quite a few relationships in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. When we go back, we should go back quarterly. Suzy even goes back more than that to take a look at our properties, chat with vendors, chat with brokers, our property management company, stuff like that, and just maintain those relationships on a regular basis has helped the deal flow come through. And then one thing I was going to mention previously when we were talking about our property management company is like, we don't even bother underwriting a property unless it passes our property management. Because I'll send properties to her first, like, hey, we just got this one come through. What do you think? She's like, she'll say yes or no, or like, hey, that's gonna be a tough area, or hey, it could be a challenge for this reason or that reason, or whatever. Like, okay, won't even look at it. So like she's our first filter, and then if it passes her, then we underwrite after that. So like that saves us a lot of time. But that's how we're basically getting properties. Like we're mostly through brokers, and then also networking with owners in the area as well.
Oh,
so
nice.
we did something cool too. Not a lot of people know about this strategy. It's called an entity swap or an entity purchase. And so like our last property that we purchased was from somebody that we knew, and where we just bought the entity. It was really, so you have to check your local regulations and rules and stuff like that. But if you buy a property like that, just buy the entity. If you're in a state that allows this to happen, you can avoid it being reassessed on taxes, right? So you avoid getting reassessed on taxes don't go up, et cetera, et cetera. And also you get to keep the same insurance policy, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So you can roll that over. So a couple things don't change. Taxes don't change. Insurance typically doesn't change. But yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and for investors, I was like, I wish I could explain this. So there's like two ways we go about this. So
Sounds
we
like
have
you're
our
about to,
own...
so I'm looking forward to it.
So we have like our own investors, and really what that was from at the very beginning, like when we started our whole real estate journey. I think it was just from showing up consistently over and over and over on meetup calls and conferences, virtual conferences, and then putting out content and creating a podcast and creating a YouTube channel. So although we were far away and couldn't meet people in person, we had so many different touch points. Like that was huge for us. But because we actually have learned that like you really don't want to be like a one-stop shop who can do it all. So like we have our own investors, but then we also bring on partners who also have their own investors, and then like take part in different parts of the whole entire project, deal, investment, whatever you want to call it, so that we can cumulatively like come together in order to raise the money. now that we're moving back to the US, I think like how we find investors will change immensely, which is cool and huge because we haven't been able to do it before.
Right.
So we're excited for that journey, but we have not had to use hard money yet. And so that's been exciting too.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, I think it's amazing because I'm much older than the two of you. And when I first got into not to get into my story, this is about you guys, but when I first got into real estate, it was literally impossible because there was no internet, one. Two, your network was very small, even though I lived in Dallas. Network was very small. And we were buying things on the courthouse steps, and we were buying distressed properties from the bank, and they don't want to help, they don't care. So it was a lot more hard money lending, things like that. And nowadays, gosh, you can sign up for nothing and get a directory of 500 investors and just send them all out your product. You in? Yep, I'm in. You out? Yep, I'm out. And then you build that core group. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, right? And it's fascinating to me how much wealth is being built by doing that, and risk exposure spread out. So no one's getting, hopefully no one gets clobbered ever, but it spreads that risk out quite a bit. I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah. And like even like just as technology has evolved, right? Totally. Like more and more and more and more people have found out about real estate investing. So like it's even they're just more excited about it because they have more knowledge about it. And then like if they become interested, they can tell their best friends or their closest family members, whoever they feel comfortable. And like that just little spider web grows and grows and grows. And like that is really what amazes me, because so often too, we have like word of mouth, like my friend invested with you and now like I learned about you. I'm like, that's cool that more people are talking about it too, because as many people know, money is just something that not a lot of people talk about. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely not things that, whatever your education level might be, most of us don't take a class in college that teaches me how to flip a house and how to find investors and how to write that contract out and how to do entity purchase agreements. I mean, it's like
it's so cool.
It's so cool. It's its own world. You guys should. Do you have a coaching program or anything that you offer? Mere mortals out there that no, you guys seem really happy. I mean, you're both smiling like, haha, we found the secret sauce. It's you could share that, but do you offer anything like that, or?
No, like right now we have a monthly meetup that we hold just to talk about it with other people who live overseas but like want to invest in the US, but our vision is to coach in the future. So it will come.
You're like, we're gonna talk to you again, Tim, because you know what's going on. But I recommend it to everyone. Anyone who has a good plan and they're happy doing it and has success. And the reason is you're still in that finite group of people who do this, right? I mean, it really is. There's a finite group. You may think there's a lot because you contact those people a lot. But on the other side, if you were to walk down the street, 99.9% of people you talk to are like, oh, I can't do that. Or, oh, that's over my head. And, oh, I'm broke. There's a lot of reasons. But so, yeah, definitely sharing that knowledge and helping people is fantastic. So we're kind of winding it down a little bit. I got a couple of questions for you, but I guess let's put on our prognostication hats real quick. Yep, there we go. There it is. You got it on. He's got his on.
Yes.
What's the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and it doesn't have to be all three. Just give me a plan for the future. What's the thought process, or maybe what's the dream? Either one, a hard plan or a dream.
So in life or real estate, but
or both.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Hey, Michael, it is the icons of real estate.
But they all intermingle because real estate makes it happen.
Yeah. So let's. You know what? And there's a reason I don't want to hear life, because I'm gonna tell you why as soon as you answer it. But go ahead. Let's call it real estate. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can.
So I mean, well, I bet it's so intermingled. Okay, so by the time Michael can retire, because this all goes, which is like a little more than 6 years from now,
Mhm.
like I will have tripled his salary through real estate.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so like that's why it's really intermingled.
goal.
It's really hard
That's
to
a
say it.
goal.
Okay.
Well, that's
I
legitimate.
guess
You want to triple
the
business
one-
over the next 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
1, 3,
fair.
and 5 year plan. Yeah, that's I
Okay.
mean that would be like the 5 year plan. Next year we're gonna double what we have now. And it doesn't we're not
It's not
we
unit
don't
count.
we don't like to say unit count or anything like that
Right.
because it's more like assets under management, to be honest. Like
Gotcha.
just because like a lot of people chase a number, like chase a unit number or whatever. And like I feel like but we're very strategic about like which properties we can acquire, what properties we're going to acquire, and how we underwrite them, right? And if
Gotcha.
it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? We're not chasing a number, but we are like looking at like assets under management. We are looking more into B class stuff, which is a little bit more expensive and things like that. So if
Sure.
it has a lower unit count but more expensive, we're totally fine with that. So double in the next year and then double that in 3 years from now, for sure. And then slowly start to sell everything off, in 5 years. So then we have a lower portfolio by the time I retire.
And become KPs.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Very nice. So, two more things. I know I said two earlier. Now I'm two more things. One, Michael, are you military or just?
I am military. Yes, I've been in for 18 years in February.
My God, you look
so-
25 years old. What are you doing?
That's because he hangs out with me.
It makes me laugh all the time. I use this like cream for my face.
There you go.
My face.
It's because we all have glasses on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There
Everything looks better.
Has on the wrinkles.
you go.
know?
Well, just so you know how old I am, I have a son that's retired from the military. So that's how old
Oh,
I
wow.
am.
You don't
Yeah.
look that.
But you could have
don't-
had a son early. So that would
You don't
give you.
look like you could do that at all. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank
We're
you.
obviously seeing the same person.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't take compliments very well. No, so we're winding down, and I'm gonna get to that personal thing. This is why I wanted to hear the business side of it, not the personal. But I'll go ahead and anybody who wants to get in touch with you, maybe they want to invest, maybe they want to, maybe they want to get rid of a complex or something. How would they get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, so the best way, Tim, thanks for asking, is just going to adventurousrei.com/info. And that's a landing page there. So you can learn about like our investment thesis there. You can connect to Suzy and I on LinkedIn there. You can find our YouTube channel. You can find our podcast, The Adventures of a Real Estate Investor. And you can also learn about like our main thing in our business, and that's like focusing on a different ROI, and that's return on impact.
Nice.
And how we really instill that into the communities and with our investors.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's more of like pick your flavor of how you like to reach out.
Fantastic. So, one, thank you for your service as well. If I didn't say that earlier, I really
you, Tim. I
appreciate
appreciate
that. The last thing, the reason I didn't say, personally is because I always like to give my guests the last word. And whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be about real estate. It could be about your favorite dog shelter. It could be about
Cat shelter.
it could be about anything you like. Just take us out on a positive note and we'll go from there.
No. Okay, so I'd love to. So there are almost 8 billion people on this earth, and like every day we have the opportunity to impact somebody by like 1%. And that 1% can go so far and we don't even think about it. So I would just love for everybody to like start your day thinking about like, what can I do that can make somebody else or myself 1% better? Because if we all did that every single day, like I can only imagine like how great like this world would be. And that's how I want to. Yeah. And that's what I love. And that's how I try to live every single day.
Yeah. It's definitely contagious, and it's the right contagion, right? It's the kind of contagion we need.
Exactly. It's the pandemic we need.
It's the pandemic we've all wanted.
Positive pandemic every day.
Hey, that's your new book. That's the name of your
I
coach.
like
Positive
it.
Pandemic. Hey, you
Love
can
it.
have that. That's my gift.
Thank you.
That's my gift.
We'll
to
take
you.
that.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Hang out with me for one more minute. I want to talk about one more thing, but thank you for being on the show. Maybe we'll catch up the next 3, 6, 9 months and we'll see how things are going by then, and maybe you've already gotten to that double, and you never know where things are going to take you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much. It
much,
was a
Tim. I appreciate
blast.
it.
Talk to you soon.